Well, hello and welcome to this week's Countryside. An interesting one again, John. We're out and about and inside as well.
Yes, we are, Simon, and we learn something every week in this programme, you know. For instance, we take beekeeping just as beekeeping, but when you talk to the beekeepers and to the experts, there's a lot more to it.
Yeah, and a lot more sort of worry, I suppose, from the department you'll be finding out as well, wouldn't it, about keeping our Manx bees as good as they are.
Well, that's right, Simon, and it resonated very, very well with farming because we too are anxious to keep the health of our Manx livestock, cows, cattle, the sheep, pigs, all healthy. And it's going to be a good future for farming if we can develop that very healthy strain of stock for all sorts of people to draw on.
Well, we'll be finding out more about that subject in detail in just a moment or two. I went to the Isle of Man Dog Agility Club's weekend, busy weekend for them, the owners and the dogs. And of course, we'll know with coming up brought up on the farms about the sheep dogs, obviously well, you sort of think they're trained, but when you see a top fella using them.
I was just going to say, so I've got my Dog Agility Club nearly every day, trying to get them to do what I want them to do.
Most of them are deaf, I always think.
Sometimes they are.
But it's marvellous to see the dogs and their owners, all sorts of shapes and sizes of dogs that are taking part in it, and the owners really loving it because it's given them exercise and the dogs.
But let me say quite quickly, Simon, in case Cap is listening to this, that I couldn't do without him either.
Oh, that's nice. And also, of course, the subject of towed caravans is high on the agenda in the news at the moment, and of course there's new permit system for towed caravans, certainly on the Isle of Man, and I got the views from the Isle of Man Motor Caravan Club as well, from Mary Gerard from that.
Yes, so. Mary of course into the motorhome.
Yes.
She has had a motorhome herself, and Roy, when he was with us, they had a motorhome. And it's very interesting, Simon. Mary and Roy, of course, were originally from Bollalise, and they come to Bollalise every Tynwald day to park up with their friends there to go to the fair, and it's lovely to welcome them back to the farm that they sort of farmed once upon a time.
Oh, well, did they get plugged into your electric?
I wouldn't mind if they did, Simon. I don't think they do, but I wouldn't mind one
Fair
bit.
enough. Well, sit back and enjoy this week's Countryside. A new permit system is being introduced here on the Isle of Man regarding towed caravans. Well, to get the views from the Isle of Man Motor Caravan Club on the subject, amongst many other things, I went along to Sumhill Road in Derby and spoke to Mary Gerard.
I think it's a good idea that they have a permit, because that way, when they come with a car and a caravan, they can't get off the island until they produce both vehicles at the harbour when they leave.
That was one of the worries, I think, or one of the concerns mentioned, that they might come over, fair enough, to, and then just head back with their car and leave the caravan here for 6 months.
Well, yes, that would at least get rid of that worry. Other worries are the fact that people who maybe haven't seen inside a caravan have a misguided information that they are going to bring 10 loaves and all the tins they can carry, but the weight load of a caravan is particularly small, and they will unhitch from that on the whatever site they go to, and they will go to Tesco, ShopRite or any of the local places. They will have their hair done, they'll go to the villa, to the shows, they'll travel on the train. They've come on holiday, they haven't come to cook in the van very often. It's quite limited facilities in a caravan, and it's fun to eat out.
Why hasn't this sort of thing, because there's a bit of mystery, I suppose you could call it, around the laws of the towed caravans over previous years, but now this seems to be a lot clearer now, and can you see a big influx coming into the Isle of Man?
I'd like to, but I don't think it will, because the cost of the car and caravan would be quite high to bring it over. I really don't think there's going to be hundreds of them beating a track.
Do you once go away much yourself off the island?
Yes, I've done a lot of touring with my late husband as far as most of Europe apart from Poland and Russia. As far as the Turkish border, I've had one foot in Syria, not that I'd want to do it today. Been in most of the mountains in the Alps. We've toured on a little motorbike, just about every department in France. And we've taken our grandchildren to England a couple of times a year at Easter and the TT fortnight. So it's been great fun.
Well, of course, you have the motor caravan type, not the towed one. But I mean, when you went to all these places, were you on sites that mixed with the towed caravans?
Yes, they were always mixed together. I think they think of us as a different breed, but nowadays I've noticed that the older person with towed caravans, when they get to about 70-something, they decide maybe hitching up and moving things is not for them, and they will come into the motor caravan group. The advantages of having a caravan is the fact that you can leave it on site and you can tour the island by car, which would be so advantageous here because they could come off the boat straight to Nobles Park if it only had a good site, especially if it would have to be the same as one would expect in England, and they could stay there 3 or 4 days and then possibly to another designated site and finish the rest of their holiday. But they would use the car totally to tour.
So, in a way, it's not the perception that people get that there'd be blocking roads and stuff that they moan about on the UK and the motorways. But I mean, yourselves here, when you go to a particular place, if you're travelling, fair enough. But if you were going to stay somewhere for a week, would you just leave the motor caravan there, and how would you transport? Or was the transport there, or just stay on site?
Well, in our particular case, we had a motorbike because this would be the advantage of having a caravan. You have got wheels. If you haven't got a large enough motor caravan to carry a motorbike, you would then either have to hire a car, use bicycles, or rely on Shanks's pony.
I mean, some people wonder or ask the question, you've got a perfectly good house at home. Why would you want to go and drive 20 miles to another part of the island and sit in the motor caravan?
Good question, often asked that. The reason is you're sitting with a group of people, going for a walk, having a chat, sharing a cup of coffee, and escaping from Monday to Friday, because weekends are for camping, and you might have somebody who's just had their exhaust pipe drop off and they know exactly who to go to and they can tell you. You can swap information about fridges that are broken down, and it's very nice to be with a group of like-minded friends. We're not all the same age, mostly retired, but of all different kinds of trades. So we have plumbers, we have builders, all very useful for a bit of advice over a cup of coffee.
So sounds very good. And I mean, the perception also, I suppose, or is the reality of it, that most people that are on the Isle of Man with motor caravans are retired? Is there many of the working people?
I think there's more young people with them now because it's a way of getting their kids out in the fresh air. You see them maybe at the Murrock on the BMX track and taking them for walks on the beach. It's nice to introduce children to get away from the laptop, the emails and the constant twiddling with the phone. There is a life outside that, and as our club is now in our 45th year with 91 members, obviously camping keeps you young and it's free.
We're here in a field at Summerhill Road in Derby, courtesy of Ken and Betty Quine, and it's the places where you sort of get people coming up to you and say, excuse me, you're not allowed here.
No, because we don't ever camp anywhere without permission. If you were just a single motor caravanner on your own, that's fine. You might not be challenged, but we feel if there's 5, 6 or 12, it's only polite to say, can we stop here? So we do actually have the permission of landowners, government departments, forestry board, and we pay a licence fee to use certain areas. So we're not just a white box sitting in a field. We are mostly retired, but we like to have the company of friends, and we're always open for application forms. If anybody wants to join or to know anything about the club, they can contact me at any time. I'll be only too happy to help.
Mary Gerard from the Isle of Man Motor Caravan Club expressing her views there on the subject, but not too much effect on her and her colleagues by the sound of things, John.
No, I'm sure they'll go on as they always have done, Simon, and we've always been glad to help Mary and her club. They come to Bollalise occasionally. Well, they come on Tynwald Day, actually, each year, and park up in a paddock at Bollalise to go to the fair.
Yeah, is that where the carrots and all go missing?
No. Mary is very familiar with Bollalise, I can tell you.
Yes.
Well, to the layman, beekeeping is beekeeping, but when you talk to the beekeepers themselves, and especially to experts, you find that there is an awful lot more to beekeeping than meets the eye. The threat of the introduction of Varroa into the island, which at present is free, is a topical subject. I talked to an expert who had been invited onto the island by the Isle of Man Beekeepers Association to talk on that very subject of keeping Manx bees healthy.
They've got almost a unique situation on the Isle of Man. They are relatively disease-free. On the rest of Europe, of course, they've got Varroa, and now they've got the small hive beetle, which was discovered in Italy back in last year, September, I think. If they can keep those out with their ban, then they should be congratulated.
How easy is it to keep Varroa out of an area?
The Varroa is a tiny mite, and one Varroa mite coming in on one bee could devastate the whole island. It will spread. You cannot isolate it at all. Every country that's tried to do so has had a problem, and it doesn't matter what methods they put in place, the Varroa are always in advance of that.
Does it have to be physically introduced, or could, for example, travel over water?
No, it has to be introduced on bees. Small hive beetle is different. That, as I understand, can be introduced on with eggs.
So it's very, very largely then down to beekeepers, with the support of the department here, to keep us Varroa free.
Yes, not only that, but the general public as well.
How are the general public involved?
The general public are the new beekeepers, and I think if there's a problem, it's going to be probably ignorance from people who are just starting beekeeping, perhaps just get onto the web rather than go through the normal channels. The normal channels, the recommended channels, of course, is the local beekeeping association, but there are always going to be those who will just go straight on the web and order things online, and they can come in the post.
How easy would it be to make a mistake? What sort of simple things would introduce Varroa into the Isle of Man?
Well, the introduction of bees, and a queen bee normally comes with attendant workers, about 5 or 6, something like that. If they come with one Varroa mite on, that queen will then be put into a colony, the Varroa mite will expand, and then will get spread around the island fairly quickly.
Now, I heard you speaking to the department. It's not just the health status of the Manx bee, it's also the temperament that you're seeking to improve.
Yes, that's right. There are some very good bees here, and there are some, let's say, that are less good. It's the poorer ones that we're trying to
It was interesting to hear you say, for example, that by introducing a new queen, you change the temperament of the whole colony.
Yes, if that queen is of good temper herself, yeah.
So, the future then, are you looking to the department to sort of support you now, or to support Manx beekeepers in this?
Well, quite frankly, I think it's everybody that's getting together, working together. That's the way to do it. Everyone's got a role to play. Obviously, the beekeepers, they've got the expertise, and the department, they're the ones who can put the legislation into place.
And finally, the future of beekeeping. We're all looking at the future of farming, the future of this, that and the other, trying to see where we're going. The future of beekeeping then, on the island?
The island. I think it looks very rosy. There is worldwide certainly an influx of beekeepers at the moment. As I understand, there's just over 100 beekeepers. That's a sustainable amount. The problem could possibly be at a later date when people drop out, new ones don't come in, numbers drop down. It could then be difficult to sustain. But at the moment, I think it looks quite healthy.
Well, there, Roger Patterson, who's been here several times actually looking at Manx bees, telling us how to keep Manx bees healthy, or what they would like to see on the island to ensure that the health is sustained.
Manx Radio's Countryside is brought to you by NFU Mutual.
After listening to what Roger had to say, I talked to Stuart Jakes, the chief vet on the island, and also to Richard Ronan, Minister of DEFA.
I think the Isle of Man, again before my time, has done a lot of work in trying to improve the standard of beekeeping and the status of bees in the Isle of Man. And certainly that's been achieved in the last few months with the Varroa-free status of the Isle of Man, which is a massive sort of statement for the Isle of Man, as well as the Isle of Man beekeepers community. And really what I've heard today is that where they're obviously pleased and delighted that we are at a level we are, there's still an awful lot of room for continued improvement, and that delights me to hear that. And certainly what we are doing here in DEFA is offering support and help to facilitate in areas where they'll need this continuous improvement. And I'm delighted to offer the support for the beekeeping community, because I know how hard they work. Really, we've had Roger Patterson over here from the UK, very experienced beekeeper, and what we're getting here is support and help in improving the communities and colonies around the Isle of Man.
Is this just a need that's arisen now then because of changing times and changing methods and the way we move about now from country to country?
I think maybe it is. I just think this is where the Isle of Man needs to be. It needs to be as best as it possibly can in everything it does. And I think the beekeeping community should be very, very proud of themselves and where they've gone and the status they've achieved over here.
Stuart Jakes, our chief vet, the health of the island stock, be it cattle, sheep, pigs or bees, is important to the Isle of Man, isn't it?
It certainly is. I think we can start to look back a bit now and say, right, we're not just progressing in the right direction, but we are hopefully coming to arrive fairly shortly. We're now looking to improve the health of cattle and get further recognition for the fact we now have no tuberculosis here as well. But certainly working with the beekeepers was an opportunity too good to miss. And it took us about, I think, 3 years all told to do all the testing. But with the help of the beekeepers themselves, registration and sending all the samples away and examining everything, we've ended up in an excellent position where we're only one of 2 small locations in the entire European Union that are Varroa free.
Now that's quite remarkable. And if we read the farming press, it's the same with agriculture. We hear of TB in the UK, for example, and here we're almost TB free.
Well, technically, in terms of actually having any disease, we haven't had any for something like 6 years now, or very close to. That's a key number in terms of being able to declare yourself officially free and get approval. But you're quite right. I mean, from the southwest of England up now through Wales and large portions of England, although Scotland itself is free, there's a significant issue there that needs addressing. We addressed our problems and I think we're going to gain the benefit.
Is this going to feature in the Manx economy in the future?
One would certainly hope so.
Well, they had a very, very positive response from the department, from Richard Ronan, the Minister, and also from Stuart Jakes, the Chief Vet, all anxious that the health of Manx bees may be maintained.
Yeah, and it looks like it's hopefully going to be a good summer by all accounts for beekeepers and honeymakers by the long-term weather forecast that everyone seems to be tipping.
If you look around, Sam, the blossom that's out, there's a lot of blossom out already. And, the sort of things that I see that you would believe that beekeepers are looking for, or bees are looking for, dandelions in fields, we don't want to see them as farmers, but the bees obviously like them.
Dandelions would be better than seeing proper lions, I imagine, in the Manx countryside, though, wouldn't it? Well, lastly on this week's programme, one man and his dog. Of course, the Isle of Man farmers are well versed with their friends, the sheepdogs, but a lot of people have got dogs now as pets just for recreational purposes as well as company. And of course, it keeps the owners fit as well as the dogs. Well, the Isle of Man Dog Club held a fine weekend of events in the agility sections, and I popped along to speak to some of the people there. So, talking to some visitors, what's your name?
Elaine.
Whereabout have you come from?
We come from just outside Stirling, across the water.
Not your first visit to the Isle of Man. Is it always for dog shows?
No, first and foremost, my good friend Linda lives in Douglas, and it's just so nice to tie a visit to Linda up with a dog show.
But how many other ones do you travel around the country at dog shows, or just mainly stay in Scotland and the odd one in the Isle of Man when you come over?
Yeah, we're mainly mainland Scotland. Occasionally we just go across the border. We go perhaps as far as Durham, but mainly in Scotland, and just occasionally we'll come over to the Isle of Man.
Right, you're here obviously competing. How many dogs have you brought over with you?
We've brought 4 dogs over, 3 are competing and 1 is just a baby.
Just here to learn?
Just to learn, just to get the vibes.
And what type are they?
I've got 1 collie, 1 working cocker and 1 Springer cross pointer, German pointer.
Right, Excellent. And is it always just the agility sort of shows you go to, or get as high as Crufts?
No, not for us. Just agility. Maybe one day crofts, but at my age, I think we'll leave that to the young ones.
Tut. Mrs. Woodhouse went on for years. I know it's not the perfect weather today for the job, but I mean, the dogs still enjoy it?
Dogs absolutely love it. As soon as the van door opens, their adrenaline starts pumping. They're like, oh, we're off to a show. I think they like to socialise just as much as we do.
Yeah, I'm surprised because I thought, well, there might be a few local people here competing, but it seems to be a lot of English reg vans and a lot of people here who braved the weather as well, because it's going to be a long weekend by the sound of it.
Yeah, we're out in all sorts of weather, but if you look in most people's vans, you'll see we've got the whole kit. We've got the sunscreen, the wellies, the lot, the shorts and the waterproofs.
Oh, well, the best of luck, and hope the weather improves for you for the rest of the competitions.
Thank you very much. We always enjoy the Isle of Man.
Well, we seem to be in the organising part of the event.
Tracy Watt, I am the agility rep for Isle of Man Dog Club. We've spent the last 12 months getting organised for this weekend's event. It takes quite a bit to pull together, getting judges contracted in from the UK to come and support us for the weekend. So.
Because it's quite a big event for the Isle of Man Dog Club,
Yeah,
is it?
It's a substantial event for the island. We have 2 agility open shows. We run one and Ramsey runs the other one. Theirs is next weekend.
What about the sort of people? See, I've just been talking to somebody who's come over from parts of Scotland. I mean, you're based here, obviously, but I mean, how many does it attract from off island?
Yeah, we've got quite a few competitors come from across. There's usually about 20 to 30 competitors that come from the UK to support us for the weekend. We obviously have the benefit of we're running a Crufts qualifier competition as well. This is for the best dog on island to go and represent the Isle of Man at Crufts next year. So we've got some classes at the show this weekend, and Ramsey have some classes, and then Douglas Dog Club hold extra classes later on in the year.
So it's not just a social get-together for the bank holiday weekend, there's a lot at stake.
No, this is serious stuff, you know. We wouldn't be standing out here in the rain for just a bit of a hobby.
So also here is
Natalie.
What's your role in the event this weekend?
I'm Chief Agility Trainer of the Isle of Man Dog Club, and I'm here backing up Tracy, so we work it between us, all the organisation.
Right. Do people generally enter is there lots of different types of classes in agility?
Yes, we have 3 height categories. We've got large dogs, medium dogs, small dogs, each run against their own category. Jumping and agility classes, again different grades, so either 1 to 7 grades combined, or the higher grades 4 to 7s.
So it's based on the classes are based on size of the obstacles, really, not the types of dogs.
Yes, based on the size of the dog. So all the small dogs will run together, and then depending what grade they are, so if they're in 4 to 7 combined class, then that course will be harder for them to jump.
Not many would have seen the sort of Isle of Man ones, I suppose, on videos and stuff, but I mean, we see it on Crufts where they go over the seesaws through the tunnels. Is it very similar courses? Have they got to be all the same?
Yeah, all similar courses, but obviously the lower graded classes are not as complicated as the ones at Crufts, because they're your top dogs. Really good dogs, but we all run over the agility classes. You have to have the seesaw in and the A-frame and the dog walk in that class, as well as your jumps. As
a trainer, can you train any dog to go through these obstacles? Or is there some that are just like human beings that are never going to take to it?
You have the odd dog that's more challenging than others, yes, that goes without saying, but yes, if you're willing to give it a go and the dogs generally enjoy it, any dog can do it.
And how long would it take one that's going to do it for the first time to sort of become pretty competent at it?
What, to do their first show?
Yeah, that sort of standard. How long would it take to train one up?
You're looking up to 6 months to at least a year. And
That's
again,
not bad though, is it?
No, but it can depend on the personality of the dog. This is when your personalities come in, because some dogs can be more confident than others. Some of them, when they come to their first show, when you've got all these dogs around in the open air, can become a little bit ring shy, shall we say. So they lack confidence in the ring and they don't always want to perform, so it can take them a few shows to get going. Whereas your more confident dogs, straight in the ring, straight round, clear rounds, and it's all good.
And is it important that the owners have the confidence as well?
Yeah, that's a really important thing. It's something, there's a lot of different trainers out there who actually work on the psychology of the sport rather than just the actual training of how to run your dog in agility, because there's a lot of it is in the mind and getting the confidence to be able to go out there and do it.
Yeah, there has to be that, I suppose, bond and trust and communication between the dog and the handler as well.
It is, it's a massive bond, and it greatly improves the bond between yourself and your dog as well doing agility, because they just, once they get into it and they love it, they just want to be out there with you and running a course. They really do.
And what about the weather today? It's not brilliant, quite a lot of rain. The dogs seem to be enjoying it. How's it reflecting on the owners?
This is typical Isle of Man weather today. Yes, we're just trying to keep chirpy and smile on the way round, because most of the dogs are still enjoying themselves, so that's all that matters.
But it's a pretty important one for you as well, for the Isle of Man Dog Club.
Yes, it is, because we're very fortunate this year. We're celebrating our 50th year as a dog club, so we've had lots of different names over the years. We've been Isle of Man Obedience Club, Isle of Man Obedience and Agility, and now we're Isle of Man Dog Club because we train in all competitive aspects. But yes, our 50th year, so great time for us.
There must be still enthusiasm in it then, because a lot of people seem to be not just having a dog as a pet, actually using them as exercise for the dog and themselves now to get fit, aren't they?
I think it is. I think it's increasingly people want to get that work-life balance, and if you've got a dog and then get yourself involved in this type of hobby, it really gives you something else to get out there and do. And you meet lots of fantastic people, that's what I would definitely say.
Do you share all your troubles with the dogs?
Yes, we have our conversations.
There we are, some of the people who were at a very busy Saturday, Sunday and Monday off the bank holiday there at the dog agility. There are classes for everything and all sorts of dogs and owners, and a wonderful, wonderful atmosphere there, John.
Yeah, and you know, Simon, in a strange way, good for countryside, because dogs who obey commands, you know, would be the very dogs that would be safe on footpaths, across fields and in lanes in the countrysides. And so it's a good side to dog owners and their pets.
It is, and when you look at the dogs around the world, really, we just think of them as sort of pets, and the farmers do as working dogs. Then you've got the guide dogs, the huskies, the old St Bernards with the brandy. And there are all sorts of purposes at them, isn't there?
Oh, there are, Sir Simon, and a lot of doggy stories. I could keep you regaled here for hours with doggy stories.
We better not go into that.
Manx Radio's Countryside is brought to you by NFU Mutual.
Well, that was this week's Countryside, and not just countryside or farm, and you've been busy with, John?
It's been a hectic week, Simon, I can tell you, but a very enjoyable week, actually. Very good down at the Guild, and it's lovely to take part down there. And you've got several farmers, Paul Costain, Graham Crowe, Graham Watterson, all down with us, you know, and all showing that some farmers, and don't forget the Farmers Quartet.
Yes, indeed.
They were down with us.
You won't know this, John, because I've just put it on a bit of surprise, but this is you from the Guild 2015.
Oh, no.
Happy as a king, were you?
I could have been, yes. And do you want to know, my boys, the for I am so glad? If you were in my shoes, my boys, you'd never more be sad. I'm happy as a king, my boys, whatever ills betide. Go to the church and ring, my boys. She says she'll be my bride. The day I went to Castletown to see my Ben Macree, she wore her finest Sunday gown, as purple as the sea. I'm happy as a king, my boys, whatever ills betide. Go to the church and ring, my boys. She says she'll be my bride. We sat beneath the tramon tree, her little hand in mine. Her blackbird sang a melody that sounded all divine. I'm happy as a king, my boys, whatever ills betide. Go to the church and ring, my boys. She says she'll be my bride.
God had taught me to sing so sweet a song. I'd sing it to her all night through, I'd sing it all day long. I'm happy as a king, my boys, whatever ills betide. Go to the church and ring, my boys. She says she'll be my bride.